The Broncos just proved they are legit after a miraculous win and just one of the most insane games you'll ever see. The Broncos proved that not only are they one of the best teams in the AFC, they currently sit atop the AFC West, looking down on the rest of the Chargers, the Chiefs, and the Raiders. And we are here kind of still in disbelief after last night's just crazy win. But how are we feeling, Mark? I know we had a video right after the game, but how is it feeling a day after, still trying to collect our thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's about 24 hours since the end of the game happened, and I'm still in disbelief at what we witnessed yesterday. One of the most unreal comebacks that I've ever seen in sports, period,
Yeah.
not just football. Also, one of the worst collapses that I've seen in sports. I mean, you look at a New York Giants team, which, to be blunt, I'm compassionate for them. Like, I'm not one of the fans that's rubbing it in their face. Like, I feel very, very sad
Yeah.
and compassionate for what they had to go through. You look at a team that was all over the field, doing the correct things, very, very strong offensively. Their defense was playing with confidence against a pretty solid Bo Nix and a Broncos offense. And then everything just completely crumbled for them.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm still riding high. This is a huge change of tides that I don't think anybody expected. I mean, at halftime and throughout the third quarter, I think everybody had pretty much accepted fate that we were going to fall to 4-3, and that this was going to be a loss that was going to really help everybody kick back into gear. But I mean, they decided to do it for DT. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
It was an unreal game, and how cool that it happened in the presence of, honoring Demaryius Thomas and having everybody from that Super Bowl 50 in attendance as well. So just so many things to be super happy and positive about after an unreal win yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I was driving while it was happening. I was listening to the game. I felt like I had to pull over because my heart was just racing too fast. And I mean, just in general, you could feel the tide turn, specifically when Strenard had that interception. When that happened, you're like, oh, we have a chance here. Like we can get a quick score and make it a one-score game. And but then we scored too quickly. The Giants have their touchdown, but there's like that last-second field goal that happens. I mean, even as soon as they missed that extra point, there was like almost this feeling that I feel like Broncos country might have had, that they were like,
I'm right there with you.
Yeah, like,
when
we're going to win
that
this.
extra point, I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Like that's the difference maker right there.
Yeah.
I'm in the exact same boat as you.
Yeah.
Because I know, I don't know, I'm sure you remember this, but a lot of people forgot this too. He missed 2 extra points. He missed
Right.
one like really, really early in the game.
Right.
The second touchdown for them. And so they could have theoretically, I mean, everything happens for a reason, butterfly effect. If they made that first extra point, none of the stuff that happened in the rest of that game may have happened. But
Sure.
you could make the argument that, like, if everything stayed the same, but the extra points worked out in their favor, we would have had to score a touchdown, which who knows, maybe we would have been capable of that, but it was just like unreal what we witnessed. Crazy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's weird to think, because you could say like, oh, the extra points went in the Broncos' favor. Without those, what would have happened? But then you think of all the tipped balls that happened in this game, the 3rd and 17 that, tipped, and then they got the touchdown off of that. Like, it's just a really bizarre game, because it felt like the ball wasn't bouncing the Broncos' way, but then all of a sudden the Broncos were making plays. And just, I think, like you said, just once in a lifetime type of game where you're not really expecting that kind of finish. 33 points in the fourth quarter is unprecedented. I don't expect I'll see that ever again. But not to say that like I'm not appreciating it, because I'm still reeling. I'm still trying to figure out how that was possible, because Bo Nix had an all-time fourth quarter. I don't think a quarterback's ever had 2 rushing and 2 passing touchdowns in the fourth quarter ever.
Nope, never. So many like crazy statistics were broken in this game. I'm actually going to go down the list real quick. So
Sure,
the one that you
it.
just said, the 2 rushing and 2 passing touchdowns in a quarter has never been done.
Uh-huh.
No team in the history of the league has ever scored 33 points in the fourth quarter to come back and win a game after scoring 0 in the first 3 quarters.
Yeah.
The 33-point comeback is tied for second place in most comeback deficit in all time in the NFL. The most is 34. So we're right up there with how much we scored and how crazy
Sure.
that was. Teams were 1,602 and 0 in winning games when being up by 18 or more going into the fourth quarter. So we shattered that. And then Bo Nix dropped the highest fantasy football score of the year.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
After having like 7 points in the first 3 quarters.
He ended with like 40.
He dropped a 33 bomb in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. Like unreal stuff.
Like, I said this in the video last night. I was like, if you took Broncos money line at any point in the game, tipping my cap to you, my friend.
Yeah, like you knew something we didn't.
You probably just made a lot of money because the odds were probably like plus 10,000. So just, I mean, we could go on and on about how the quarter and the game itself was unreal. But I mean, like you mentioned, we're atop the AFC West now, and it sets a really good precedent moving forward because now the Broncos have, once again, very winnable games in the near future that could put us at a very strong record in the AFC West.
Absolutely.
The AFC in general.
Of course, absolutely. And to put it in perspective, Bo Nix had to say a complete team effort in the fourth quarter. It was really bad there for a point. The morale was low on the sideline, but guys never quit. It took a few plays. Next thing you know, Will Lutz is kicking a game winner. I can't believe it. I haven't really had one like that. That's a first for me. I love our team. I just love, just in general, the vibe that Bo is bringing. He was in disbelief giving that post-game conference or interview. And
absolutely.
And he had every right to be, because I just don't think most quarterbacks would know what to say after that game. And to bring some analysis to it, there's some people, I think, some networks are saying that, like, oh, this was more of a Giants collapse than a Broncos win. And just because this is a Broncos channel, I'm not saying this just because of that, but I completely disagree. I think the Broncos
completely disagree with you as well.
Yeah, the Broncos took this game because at the beginning of the fourth quarter, they score, they get the 2-point conversion. It's 8, so I think it's 19-8. Then they get the lucky tipped pass for their touchdown, 26-8, and so it's a 3-score game with 6 minutes left. I think that's why people are assuming it's a collapse. But if you watch the full game, and the NFL, I want to say, has posted the final like 10 minutes of the fourth quarter of this game online. You can watch it for free. Watch the game. The Broncos completely out-schemed the Giants at the end of here, because
100%.
Yeah, the Broncos won. They caused that interception that gave us that short field, but Bo Nix was operating at a different level. And this is kind of what we should discuss here, is the fact that all of these drives that he was able to operate, the field goal drive at the end, the touchdown drives, the 4 touchdown drives, I should say, they were not flukes. You watch the game, sure, you can say some defensive busted coverages, but a lot of it was just reading the coverages well, our players holding onto the ball, trying to get as many yards as they could, but not doing anything that was out of their realm, doing their jobs. And that's why I feel like, okay, if it was like a lucky grab like in the end zone, or a lucky, like, it'd be one thing, but this was consistent play over a fourth quarter, over 15 minutes, that was really unprecedented. And that's why a lot of people are like comparing it to like the Tebow comebacks, the Elway comebacks. And I mean, and even that might be selling it short, just because of the amount of things that had to go right, but the amount of fantastic elite play that had to be done by both, actually all 3 phases. And but anyway, I know you want to have some commentary there.
No, I completely agree. I do think that from a neutral standpoint,
sure,
to try to not take the Broncos bias side of it, there's an argument to be made that obviously part of it was a Giants collapse.
Sure.
But at the same time, you look at the end of the game and you look at the fact that the Giants, after the Broncos scored a touchdown and kind of got themselves back in the game, they went and scored another touchdown, and they kept offense going. And then at the end of the game, despite a very questionable pass interference call, which I want to talk about that a little bit later on as well. Despite a questionable interference call, They got themselves down the field and scored a touchdown and took the lead again.
Yep.
And the Broncos still managed to get the win.
Yeah.
Scoring 33 points in one quarter is not luck. That is
Yeah.
not luck. That takes skill, poise, and confidence, and it takes a well-oiled, engineered offensive system to do that. And I mean, in our pregame video for this game, we talked about how we felt like thinking about this now, I'm laughing because it's pretty funny. We talked about how we were like finally expecting that we were going to see the offense fully play a game. We did see that. It just happened to only happen in one quarter.
In the fourth quarter,
Yeah, which was insane. But I
Yeah.
mean, like, for people that are saying it was a Giants collapse, like, let's take Bo Nix for example here. Bo Nix is a very quick pocket passing, efficient quarterback who is not leaving the pocket to pass very frequently. When you see him leave the pocket and try to go from one side to the other, that's when he's getting swallowed up and sacked. You saw him quickly getting balls thrown. You saw him finding good targets, finding good receivers. And when you saw him leaving the pocket, it's because he knew that he didn't have any receivers and he was running the ball instead, which is why he had 42 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then also, you talk a little bit about like blown coverages and stuff like that. I would say the 2 biggest plays of the fourth quarter to give us the win were the Marvin Mims third down conversion where he threw it into, I think it was triple coverage.
Third and
Marvin
11.
Mims was coming.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he hit like a back route and came right back and caught it. And then the Courtland Sutton route that they had never run in a game before.
Yep.
He had 2 guys on him as well. And Bo Nix had the accurate throws. Our receivers were able to hold on to the ball. I mean, you can make the argument that in certain ways the Giants collapsed. Maybe it was a Giants kicking collapse is what you could call it.
Sure.
But the Broncos put very efficient offense out on the field, and they are heavily the reason that they were able to come back and win that game. I don't think it had a lot to do with the Giants falling apart. I mean, I said it already. Like, I give my full respect to the Giants. They played a very good game.
Yeah.
And I think it's tough to go out that way.
Sure.
But I think there's just nothing you can do about Bo freaking Nix coming out of nowhere and turning into prime Peyton Manning in the fourth quarter.
Seriously, I mean, yeah, just talk about unreal. But Sean Payton did have to say, we're gonna enjoy this, but it's important that we don't let the euphoric win like that cloud the things that need to get cleaned up tomorrow, being today on Monday. And I think that's exactly what I wanted to hear from Sean Payton. I think you agree that just because we had an historic fourth quarter doesn't mean that the other 3 quarters didn't happen. And that's the thing, is like, we're still waiting for the complete game. You could argue that the Bengals game was complete. I'm not sure I would call it that, but it's still one of those things when you have tough competition. Like, listen, people will say, oh, the Giants 2-5, that's not real competition. I disagree. They blew out the Eagles. Ever since Jackson Dart got there, they looked like a lot more legit of a team, and so the Broncos handled business there. And it's more about can they take what happened in the fourth quarter and stretch it out to the rest of the game? Because weirdly enough, I mean, I think a lot of people have been gotten really frustrated with just the fact that, like, it's a lot of screen passes, bubble passes, routes, end of routes, and just runs that are not, to J.K. Dobbins up the middle. Like, it feels like a lack of trust in Bo Nix, and which is strange because when you see a performance like we did in the fourth quarter, you're like, okay, he's clearly capable of greatness. So why don't we have that confidence that we have in the fourth quarter in the rest of the game? And some people will be like, okay, this is just like Tebow. Like, this is more of a Bo problem because he elevates his game in the fourth quarter. I don't see that necessarily. I see that Bo is the same player overall, but he's not given the plays. He's not given the play calling that he needs in the first 3 quarters before we become desperate and really need to stretch the field. But I don't know. What do you see, Mark?
I completely agree. I think that the play calling has been questionable.
Yeah.
I mean, I was talking with some people during the game. People were literally saying, like, what's the record for swing passes in a single game? Because it was just over and over and over again in the first 3 quarters. It's like, when it's 3rd down and 9, throwing a swing pass to RJ Harvery at the line to gain, or at the line of scrimmage, excuse me, that's not going to get you anywhere against a confident, playing with the lead New York Giants defense. I think it is a play calling issue.
Sure.
And I mean, obviously Bo Nix holds himself to a high standard. He's a very humble, efficient, strong quarterback. he's going to obviously say that he's playing poorly and that he's not holding himself to the standard that he needs to be. And I don't think he was playing his best football in the first three quarters.
No, no,
I
not at all.
completely agree with I completely agree with that take, but he needs to let they need to let the leash loose. They need to
Yeah.
let him go play and be free, just like they did in the last quarter of that game. Because, I mean, that right there proved that he is 100% capable of winning very, very notable clutch level games for the Broncos.
Right, right. And off script too. Like obviously there were some plays very undesigned. He was able to perform those, but I feel like scrambling and it's just weird that he seems to have this clutch factor, this in-game ability to understand when he needs to perform that I do think it's a both sides problem. Bo needs to be more in the game since at the beginning of the game, and Sean needs to be playing less scared at the beginning of the game. And I think that would really help both sides and have them be on the same page. Because to be honest, mentally, I actually always assumed that Sean and Bo were a perfect match, but now I'm not so sure. Now I'm like a little questioning things a little bit, except in the fourth quarter. They're clearly in sync in the fourth quarter. It's just a matter of can they perform like the same level at the for the entire level. I found this little tweet here really interesting. A very angry Brian Burns leading the field in Denver after a devastating loss. Brian Burns, had a solid game, and I think he had like a quote while he was walking away saying like, I can't believe we dropped 8 men into coverage, and that the offense was able to figure that out and have a play to beat that. It's very revealing that the Giants may have not been on their game entirely in that fourth quarter, or maybe been panicking a little bit because of the momentum that we had. That's the side that people might want to take, where it's like, okay, the Giants collapsed instead of the Broncos won. I liked this tweet a lot from. It says more like T-Bo. I thought awesome. Very accurate, very very true. But yeah, it's again, he is emphasizing, Sean Payton, that we're going to enjoy today, but tomorrow isn't going to be as pleasant, and it can't be, or we're just fooling ourselves. And that's kind of what we're talking about, is that this offense, I mean, we're 5-2. The team is 5-2. We're sitting at the top of the AFC West because the Chargers are kind of in the middle of a collapse, you could say. And the Chiefs
back to reality.
Yep, seriously. But the Chiefs are on the rise. They look like themselves again, but it's weird. I'm not scared of the Chiefs. I'm ready for them. I want the competition. I want to really prove that it's the two of us. It's always been the two of us, the Broncos and the Chiefs, that are the class of the AFC West, and the Chargers have really always been pretenders more than anything. So I'm very excited, but we have a test ahead of us with the Cowboys, like arguably the best offense in the league, which should be interesting. But overall, I mean, you just can't be more elated about how this win turned out for the Denver Broncos, and how how resilient this team is. Because we were arguing after the Chargers loss, this team doesn't know how to win yet. We're still figuring out how to close games. But then the Eagles win happens, the Jets win happen, and now this Giants win happen. 3 games in a row where we close games out in the fourth quarter with incredibly clutch performances. And so now all of a sudden, we are clutch. We do know how to finish games, and that can match up with the Chiefs. That's what gives me confidence against Kansas City, because you want to look at like the best at closing games. They are the best, and now we have that same ability to match up with against that. So anyway, we face them in a few weeks, but the Cowboys will be a good test. The Raiders, we can just blow them out like we always do, and then it's just a matter of just, can we hold on to this AFC West lead? But any closing thoughts do you have about the Broncos?
I mean, I pretty much agree with everything that you said. Going back to the Sean Payton note that you made, I think that this scenario could not be more ideal for Denver. They get to basically soak in the excitement of a big win, but they also get to correct arguably the worst 3 quarters of football they've ever played with Bo Nix. Like,
probably
awful football.
Yeah.
And I think that the fact that they get to learn from all these mistakes while also improving to a 5-2 record is most ideal for them. They've got the Cowboys at home. It's going to be a big test, but I think they're going to come into the game with a different mindset after what happened last week. And then after that, Raiders, Texans, those should be,
winnable, at least.
Winnable, but at the same time, now segueing into the Chiefs conversation, which that also lines up with even the Texans and the Raiders. Not as much, but it does.
Yeah.
It's the inconsistency that worries me. One week, we are the team of the league blowing out the reigning Super Bowl champs. The next week, we are hanging on by a thread against the worst team in the league.
Yeah.
And then this last week, inconsistencies within the game. 1 minute, we are once again looking like the Jets. We're playing like the New York Jets. We're looking terrible. Sorry, Jets fans, if you somehow see this. Not to dig at your team, but let's be real. I mean, we looked horrible in those first 3 quarters. And then the next minute, literally in the snap of a finger, all it takes is one interception, and all of a sudden we are dogs. And
Yeah.
it's the inconsistency that worries me. And I think that Sean Payton needs to preach that. And that's what needs to be discussed amongst the locker room looking ahead to these games. Okay, I teased this a little bit ago. Final thought that I did want to really quickly touch on. Pass interference call on Riley Moss.
Yeah.
What do we think? What do we think?
I was livid, to be honest. I mean, it's just one of those things, and because I was listening to it on the radio, so I didn't have the visual to see it. But afterwards, after I came back home and watched the play itself, but it's ridiculous. You can't make that call to change a game like that. It's just really frustrating. I feel like the refs have really had a really influential aspect to every Broncos game that is really frustrating. That, I mean, listen, I know pass interference has been like Sean Payton's arch enemy, but it's just one of those things that it felt like DT that the moment was able to overcome that specific just blemish to the game because it was the wrong call.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, in the long run, it doesn't matter because we got it done anyways and we got the win. But from my point of view, which let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree. Let us know how you feel. But from my point of view, Riley Moss, and also an asterisk on this conversation, he's notorious for being the king of pass interferences, and I'm aware of that. But in this specific scenario, I feel like he turned his body. I feel like he had his hands up and back against the receiver upon the ball falling down, timed perfectly. And then a crazy angle, too. I don't remember the name of the Giants receiver. He put his hand over Riley Moss and
he pulled him into
his face mask. Yep. It should have been an OPI, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then the final thought on it is the ref that made the call was standing 40 yards away on the other side of the end zone.
Yep.
You can't see pass interference from that far away. I'm sorry. You don't have a good view of that. If it was the ref that was directly in front of it and had a good case and a good reason for making the call, obviously it's all right, whatever. That's really annoying and really frustrating for Broncos fans. But looking back with the win, you're okay, but in the future, not just for the Broncos, but for officiating in general, this stuff needs to get figured out. This stuff needs to change. Just officiating in general. I don't know if you saw the Vikings controversial catch play. It was
the Hawkinson touchdown.
Yeah.
Yep.
That is 100% a catch, in my opinion. And
because they called the Kelsey catch a catch, so it's you got to call it both ways.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm 100% in the boat of I do not think that was pass interference, and I love Sean Payton running down the field and getting out there.
Yeah.
He got the unsportsmanlike conduct call, but
at that point it didn't matter. Yeah, you were on the 1 yard line anyway. So it was, that's almost like you're trying to get your team fired up in a way, and it's like a calculated penalty. But I agree, and like Mark said, just let us know in the comments if you agree. Was that penalty BS, or do you think that they called it right for whatever reason? Feel free to just discuss in the comments, because I am interested to hear people who think that maybe those penalties shouldn't be reviewed regardless. I'm still feeling okay, we gave 1 year to reviewable pass interference and then we just discarded it. I wish that we had it last a little longer, because it's such an influential play. It's a spot foul in the NFL, not just a 15-yard penalty in college football. So anyway, I think it's worth revisiting.
And the spot foul is what makes it diabolical.
Right. I mean, it's 45-yard penalty or something.
In the moment, that made that changed the tide of the game. And
Seriously.
like honestly, from a Giants standpoint, you could literally make the argument that their game plan was throw it to the end zone on 4th down and pray to God that one of the players on the Broncos messes up. And that's what happened in the eyes of the refs, which, like I said, I disagree with it unbiasedly. And I've even seen on X, I've seen some Giants fans in like Broncos comment section saying like, humble Giants fan here, that was not pass interference. We got bailed out. Like people know that was a bad call. And
absolutely.
With these types of conversations too, like the way that it goes is it's up to your personal interpretation. You're not on the field making the call, so you can't really do anything about it besides have an opinion. And it's up to what you think pass interference is. So people may have different opinions. That's why we're telling you to let us know what you think. But I mean, at the end of the day, I just think the majority of people that are engulfing themselves in this storyline are saying that was not pass interference.
Yeah. Yeah, and thankfully this time we were able to overcome it. Like unlike the leverage penalty that was also just
how good does it feel to be on the good side of a like walk-off field goal? We earned that.
Seriously, 2 weeks in a row we were on the wrong side of that. It's like the Broncos. I mean, they figured it out. They found ways to win, and I'm excited to watch them go up against a Cowboys offense that lost to the Panthers, but now they're dominating the Washington Commanders. So it's like, what is this team? The Broncos
once again, kind of fluky and inconsistent.
Yeah, exactly. So two inconsistent teams going at each other should be very interesting to watch. But until the next video, we'll start to analyze just more and more Broncos football. But until then, on top of the AFC West, enjoy it, Broncos fans. We'll see you then.